Chapter 2 Silver Lining. Writer Chaman Nahal. New Oxford Modern English Book. Class 8. Question Answers Complete Explanation in Hindi. Words to know. Words and its meaning. Ambiguous, obscure, of double meaning. जिन वर्ड्स के दो मीनिंग निकलते हैं. एंग्विश मीन्स डीप पेन, अति ज़्यादा तकलीफ होना. कॉम्पेटिबल, सूटेड टू, इन अकॉर्ड विथ, जो सूट होना दो चीज़ों का आपस में. क्यूजिन, स्टाइल ऑफ कुकिंग. डाइंड, थॉट फिट टू डू समथिंग. डिन, नॉइज. Emphatically, forcibly expressing with feeling and stress. Fleeting, passing rapidly. Humdrum, commonplace or dull. Humiliation, lowering of the dignity or self-respect. Incoherent, not easily followed or understood. Nonchalantly, pronounced as nonchalantly. Nonchalantly, unexcitedly, calmly and coolly. Profuse, lavish, plentiful. Self-conscious, conscious of oneself or shy. Swarthy, dark in color. Trepidation, alarm. Untempered, not restrained, not moderated. Comprehension. Answer the following question. A. How does the author believe that it is difficult to assess the range and quality of human emotions? Answer. The author believes it is difficult to assess the range and quality of human emotions because it is usually not possible to tell what warm like grief people hide within their hearts by merely looking at their appearances. In what ways was the Bhandari guest house a suitable place to stay? Answer. The Bhandari guest house was a suitable place to stay because it was centrally located near the bus stand, the market and post office. Yet it was far enough from the common din. It was peaceful, the view was pleasant, the food was good, and the hostess was charming. C. Which phrase tells us that the author is somewhat critical of North Indian men? Answer. In describing Mr. Bhandari, a North Indian, the author says, there was not a trace of that untempered roughness which one finds in most men hailing from the north. D. What makes the author say he felt as if he had known the family for years? Answer. From the minute he arrived at the guest house, the author was put at ease by the Bhandaris. Mr. Bhandari Mrs. Bhandari looked after his luggage, gave instructions about his room, provided him with a cup of coffee, and chatted amiably. In this way, the family won him over and made him feel he had known for them for years. E. In what manner did the author try to make friends with Pramodani? What was the reaction from Pramodani and her parents? Answer. The author asked Pramodani what her name was, smiled at her, and beckoned to her. Pramodani reacted by blushing and running out of the rooms with tears in her eyes. Her parents frowned with painful looks on their faces. Mrs. Bhandari then apologetically explained to the author why the girl behaved the way she did, for she could neither hear nor speak. F. Which phrase or statement tells us that the Bhandaris did not much care for the questions put by visitors about their daughter? Answer. The fact that this happened for too often and consequently The parents had to repeatedly answer the curiosity of visitors indicates that the process must have been tiresome. G. What first impression did the Bhandari have about Mr. David? How did they regard him at first, and in what manner did their opinion change? Use selected words and phrases from the text in your answer. Answer. The Bhandari's first impression of the young man was that he was proud and arrogant. Since she did not reply to their polite inquiries, they found him strange and rude. When, even after the written request to not to try to be friendly with their daughter, he ran out into the courtyard where Pramodini was playing by herself. They were, however, struck with wonder and amazement when they found their little daughter Pramodini sitting on his lap and laughing the way she has not laughed for years. These questions are more difficult. Discuss them first. H. Mr. Bandari squeezed his wife's arm and said apologetically, I am sorry, Mr. Dhanda. Why was he sorry? Give more than one reason. Answer. Mr. Bhandari apologized to Mr. Dhanda for his daughter's reaction to his attempt to make friends with her and for the fact that he had not realized earlier that Pramodini could not hear nor speak. I. Why do you think the Bhandari agreed after some trepidation to try out the author's suggestion of a way to deal with the questions of visitors? Answer. The Bhandaris thought that a note would not reflect their spirit of hospitality. They felt it might be awkward giving a note to people who were going to make the guest house their temporary home. Their unease about this led to their trepidation. Answer the following questions with reference to context. I vaguely felt I had wronged her and her parents. First, why did the speaker feel like this? What had he done? The speaker, Mr. Dhanda, felt that he had wronged the family because he did not really know what he was doing. He did not do anything on the purpose. He felt he had wronged the girl and her parents because he had tried to make friends with her by speaking to her but had not realized she was deaf and dumb. What did he do to make the situation better? To make the situation better and to save the child from repeated humiliation, he suggested that the Bhandaris provided new guests with a chit bearing information about Pramodini. B. At this time, he discovered the sealed envelope containing the typed chit lying on the table, addressed to him by name. First, who discovered the envelope? Mr. David discovered the envelope. Second, what had happened immediately prior to this? Mr. David paid the porter and made entries about himself and the guest house register. He was greeted by Mr. Bhandari prior to it. What was in the envelope and what did it say? In the envelope was the information that the Pramodini was deaf and dumb and that she should not be hurt by strangers trying to befriend her too soon. What did the person do immediately after this? Immediately after this, Mr. David looked around astonished, saw Pramodini playing in the courtyard and looked at Mr. and Mrs. Bhandari and Mr. Dhanda with a smile and darted towards Pramodini. She looked the happiest woman in the world. Whom is the statement about? This statement is about Mrs. Bhandari. Why was the person happy? Answer. Mrs. Bhandari was happy because Mr. David had outlined to her and her husband some plans for the education and betterment of Pramodini. He had told that there were schools for such people and that he himself intended starting one and that the Pramodini could be his first pupil. What did she do to show her pleasure? Mrs. Pandari laughed like a carefree girl. She gave the guest an extra helping of jam and butter and honey at the table. Working with words. Write the meaning of the following words, also use them in the sentences of your own. Hailing, meaning coming from. Sentence: Robert Patterson is an actor hailing from London, England. B. Apologetically, meaning regretfully. She apologetically told about the car accident. C. Forwardness, eagerness. He tried to explain his forwardness in battle. D. Hospitality, friendly and liberal. Indians are renowned for its hospitality. Sympathetic, full of sympathy. She was sympathetic towards her employees. F. Intimate, close and acquaintance or familiar. The diary revealed the several intimate details about his life. Confirmation, act of confirming. My father has gone for confirmation of our tickets to Manali. Disconcerted, upset or disturbed. She was disconcerted by the sudden attack on her integrity. Inferred, decuded or hinted at. She inferred from his silence that he was angry. Apprehensive, anxious or fearful. That's something bad. I was very anxious and apprehensive about going into work.